Mudhouse Mansion is a haunted house located outside Lancaster, Ohio. In 1839 or 1852, the year uncertain, Christian and Eleanor Rupp purchased the property from Abraham Kagi and Henry Byler. According to locals in Lancaster, the house was built in the 1800s by a government official who lived there after the Civil War. It was variously said to have been built sometime between 1840 and 1850, in the 1870s, or around 1900. The Second Empire style makes the 1870s seem most likely. The man still kept slaves in Mudhouse Mansion, even though it was illegal. It seems this man didn't abide by the law and kept his slaves locked up in an outbuilding at night. He treated his slaves very poorly and conditions were so bad that one slave started building a tunnel underneath the wall of the outbuilding. He dug a little every night after the lights in the mansion had gone out and the slave owner and his family had gone to sleep. Eventually his tunnel was completed and he squeezed himself down the small opening and came up on the other side of the wall. In the dead of night, he crept towards the mansion, slipped the lock on the back door, tiptoed up the staircase and killed everyone inside. In the morning, locals discovered what had happened, but all the slaves had escaped and no one was ever charged with the crime. The house lay vacant for years afterwards and neighbors heard strange groans and shrieks coming from within the empty mansion. Everyone believed it was haunted by the ghosts of the slave owner and his family. Nobody dared to enter the menacing-looking building. According to local legend, a man actually did buy the house in 1892 and moved in with his wife and their 3 children. Neighbors saw the family moving in, unloading their belongings from trucks and carrying them into the house. And then nothing. Neighbors never saw them again. The family never left the house. Neighbors thought it was very odd for a family of 5 to spend all their time indoors. When one neighbor looked out her bedroom window, all she could make out was the figure of a woman, dressed all in white, standing at the second floor window. The figure wasn't doing anything, just standing there, staring at her. When the neighbor looked again, the following day, she saw the figure again, standing in the same position. Every day, whenever the neighbor looked at Mudhouse Mansion, the figure was always there, standing in exactly the same position. On the 10th day, She called the police and asked them to investigate. When policemen broke into the mansion and climbed the stairs to the second floor, they were greeted by a terrible sight. All 5 in white nightgowns. It appeared that they had taken their own lives. The figure the neighbor had seen was the mother of the family. And she hadn't been standing at the window, she had been hanging there for 10 whole days. After that, nobody would live in the house and it has remained vacant to this day. In 1919, the property was sold to Henry and Martha Hartman. Henry Hartman died in 1930 and the property was inherited by his daughter Lulu Hartman, who married Orrin Mast. Her descendants still own the land today, and locally the home was long known as the Hartman Place. The same building is described as the Raw Mast House in the book Heritage of Architecture and Arts, Fairfield County, Ohio by Ruth W. Drinkle. People still come to visit the old mansion, but the current owner will not allow anyone to enter the property. She is afraid that if anyone goes in, they will never come out alive. Local children call it Mary's house and tell each other that the famous Bloody Mary of legend grew up there. People who live in the area say that on cold dark nights, you can sometimes still see the figure of a woman, all in white, standing motionless at the second floor window. On September 21, 2015, the Mudhouse mansion was demolished by the property owners, the Mast family.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Starting out with a little history on tonight's topic. And I wanted to welcome you all to my little Halloween special. I hope you're all doing well, and we're going to take a look at one particular structure tonight and focus completely on that. This is Mudhouse Mansion, and it is in Lancaster, Ohio, or was. It was demolished now, and it has a very long, creepy past. It's very difficult to find information on it, and I think the reason being is that this house is old world, and so it has grown to have this amazing history, and I'm just going to share you what I found tonight. So this house, nobody seems to know, and there don't seem to be any records as to when this house was built. It looks like it was somewhere between 1839 and 1852 when the land, from the best I can discover, was sold, and it was sold from, it seems like two gentlemen, and they were named Abraham Kagi and Henry Byler. And it doesn't seem like the house was supposedly on the land at the time. The way they make it sound is that the land was purchased somewhere between 1839 and 1852. And then it was purchased by Christian and Eleanor Rowe. And then it's kind of like they're saying that the house was then built later because of the Victorian Second Empire style, which, as Mudflood researchers, we know that style is Old World. So, the history is basically non-existent. There's legends about the place, but as for actual records, I did find one newspaper article, which I'll show you later, but it was for a sale of the house in 1919. So we're talking quite a bit down the road. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to look at pictures of this house, and I'm just going to show you what I found, and talk amongst yourselves. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And StreamYard has been aggravating lately, so I may have to do this twice for some reason. So let me wait for this to see if it actually comes up. It may or may not. I do not know. I'm checking my other screen here. I don't think it did. Okay, so I got to do it again. I don't know why that it keeps doing that, but it does. So I'm going to stop screen share and try it again. I do not understand why it does that continually. Anyways, welcome Kathy and Hippie and Orphan Annie and Steps. And there we go. Okay, and let me change my little doodad here. So I'm down in the corner, and we will be ready to rock, and we will be ready to roll. So this is what is referred to as Mudhouse Mansion. Now, the history is interesting. This house is on Mudhouse Road, but this is actually not the Mudhouse. There was actually another older house, supposedly older, that was built across the street. Not sure of the location exactly, but it was across the street, from my understanding, on this road, and it was a mud brick house. It was made out of like mud and straw and things like this. It was a literal mud house, and it was, I believe, a tavern. But anyways, it's long gone. I think it went away in the 60s. But that is where the name Mudhouse Road came from. After the original Mudhouse was gone, the Mudhouse Mansion got its nickname. So, what's interesting about this structure, from the get-go, it's one of the most interesting features of this is that it is supposedly, quote unquote, built against a mud hill. And the mud hill is right here. And this is what they call this. There's actually, you'll see it later, there is an entrance up here, and then on this level, and then it actually has 3 levels, 1, 2, 3. And I'm speculating also that there is a basement, although I have not proven that. but we will look at some speculation on that. There are several outbuildings. There at one time were some farm buildings. We'll see those later. Um, and so this here is a retaining wall of stone right here. And, this is very interesting that they would build this house and then have to build a stone retaining wall in order to hold back the dirt, the mud. I mean, it's just very, very, very odd. But it's. I think we all know as mudfloaters what we're looking at here. What it looks like to me. I mean, my opinion is that this house was here. It was probably, larger, quite possibly 4 stories, and it was mud flooded. And there's some other buildings around here, and we'll see. But this thing is quite beautiful in its architecture. I want you to take special note of the bricks that are used. We're going to go into great detail later about the bricks. I want you to take quite a bit of notice of the foundational work here. We'll get some closer pictures of that. I believe, and I do not have any proof of this, but I believe that they added this foundation here, as Streets of Tartary would say that the Freemasons came in and covered over it. And I believe that this right here is covering over the mud flood windows, and it's also supporting the structure in an interesting way, which we'll get into. But this thing is quite a piece of work. It's a real shame that this is gone now. So our next picture, and you can see the foundation down here. Looks like some foundational shift is happening in that brick right there. This building is interesting. I learned that this building, where I thought it was one of 2 things. I thought it was either a well house, or B, I thought it might be an outhouse. But no, it's neither. I found out that this is actually a generator house, and they produce their own electricity for this house. And I believe that they produced it with a water wheel, like on a grist mill. And I will show you that later. But this is a generator house that was used to not only power the house, but power the farm. So that's pretty amazing. How many houses do you know that have a history of that is so shady, yet it has such interesting technology? But it has wonderful woodwork here, just beautiful. And it got the mansard roof. All right, this is a nice close up of the front porch here. Just beautiful, beautiful architecture. And I want you to take special notice of these bricks. I want you to notice how perfect they are. I want you to notice the type of mortar used. I want you to take special notice of this as we go through. I think there is a story here that has not been told, and I think we're going to tell it here tonight. And shout out to Dean and Hippie Shake for chasing down some information for me earlier today, and they were helpful in trying to figure this little mystery out. So I want you to check out this. Oh, this is on the back. I'm sorry. This is on the back. This is the back porch, and this is the generator house over here to the right. And this is something I'm just noticing now that this house has this brick. Okay, we're done with that pic. This is the front side of the house, and this is a picture taken from the hillside, the mud side, and this right here was a door to enter the house. And they used to have a porch right here that led over to the mud, and you could walk over and walk into the house to the second floor. And you can see the inserts here for the joist. You got some railing here, which would have been added later. I don't believe that this you know, let me be specific. I think maybe this railing, I'm thinking that, on the spot here, I'm thinking that this railing might be utilized from something else. I don't think this railing was originally on the house. This piece right here is interesting. I'm just noticing this for the first time. I may have found this on eBay. We will look at that later. And there, I want you to take, again, special notice of the bricks that are being used. I want you to notice especially the mortar used, and especially the uniformity, the smoothness of the bricks. I want you to take special notice of that, and it'll all come clear later. But those bricks are very, very clean and nice. Take notice that the mortar is falling out right here. And my point here is I don't believe this is a very good quality mortar, and you will see why later. And there's those retaining wall blocks. I mean, those are massive. I think these were put in after the mud flood. And here we have a side pic, and this pic is interesting because a lot of people seem to think that it shows the ghost of the lady that was hung. And to be clear, there is no historical evidence to prove that anyone ever died in this house. It's a legend. There's ghost stories. There's it's the story of the house, but there is no historical record of anybody dying in the house. So are the stories true? I don't know. It could be, it could not be. It could be complete made up. I don't know. I mean, from my personal experience, I mean, I used to do ghost hunting. I mean, real life ghost hunting, like the real deal. And in my experience, I have seen full apparition ghosts. So do I believe in ghosts? Yeah, I do. I've seen them. I have heard them. I have felt them. I have recorded them. I have recorded them in different ways. So do I believe in ghosts? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Now, here's something that's interesting is that it's weird that most ghost stories come from long ago. If you think about it, when's the last time you heard a new ghost story? One that was created recently. Like, when's the last time you heard one? Like the one that it's what I'm saying is, when's the last time you heard that 2 years ago, Billy Bob, died in a house and they haunt the house? Here's what I'm kind of thinking, and I could be, shooting in the dark here, but what if Okay, we know that bricks can be batteries, and we know that everything is electricity. Everything is energy. Okay, now if everything is energy and bricks are batteries, what if people had traumatic experiences in certain locations that were, you know, brick built structures, and what if their energy transferred into the bricks because of the free energy grid? I'm just shooting in the dark here. What if? I don't know. I'm not saying it did. I'm just saying, what if? Why is it that we have old ghost stories and we don't have new ghost stories? I'm just asking. All right. This is that door that was on the second floor that we were looking at a minute ago. This is a much clearer image, and you see the stones there, the retaining wall stones, and the pieces, the openings for the joist to go in. You're starting to see a little bit inside. I want you to take special note of the brick, again with the mortar that's there. All right. We're going to look as hard as we can at this one structure tonight. Got an upside down fleur de lis there. It's interesting. Some deterioration there coming from roof damage. This is an interior shot. This stove was actually stolen before the house was demolished, but this is an old stove. Pretty cool. Definitely never seen one of these before. I don't know how old it is. My guess is it, is probably something they, added later. Looks like a possible gas line right there. They might have had gas lighting at the time. Now, I want you to take special note of the bricks. These are interior bricks. And I'm sure you're going to notice there's a little bit of difference in the bricks inside than there are on the outside. Here's a great image of the bricks interior. These would be common bricks. Yes. And the exterior would be a facade brick. But look at the grout, the mortar. Look how much thicker it is. Look how it's got a different color to it. It's not white. It's, creamish, grayish, it's different. The brick is different. That is a fired brick. That's an old brick. Here's another interior shot of you can see the floor is rotting out. They had, I believe it was in 2003, they had a fire. They've had two fires on site. One was there was a little white house that was at the front driveway. It burned down, and then there was a fire set on the lower floor, and the fire department was called. They believe it was some local kids, and the fire department came and they put it out. When they put it out, it tore the floor up, and it did quite a bit of damage to the interior, which is one reason that they demolished it, because it was becoming very unsafe. But it was actually savable up to that point, they say. But I want you to take very special close attention to the bricks you're looking at there. That is a fired brick, and that is a good mortar. And right there, peeking through, you can see that other kind of facade brick. And you can clearly see there's a difference. You can see the juxtaposition between the two right there. Very different. You can see that the joist, or the actual 2x, that's an actual 2x, probably 10. maybe 12. That's a big board. That's a heavy board. That is if that didn't get wet, if it was remain, it would still be there today. We have some of those on the farm that were pulled off an old building that was supposedly built in 1912, but it wasn't. It's an old world building, and we have boards like this, and they are still just as good today as they were the day they were cut down, maybe even better. This is the staircase. Got a little cubby under the staircase, it looks like. Got some detail going up the side. Alrighty, we got this is kind of the back side of the house, and you see the generator house right here. Do not have pictures inside the generator house, unfortunately. There's a piece missing right here, which makes me think it was maybe for a smokestack, possibly. Looks like plumbing was added right here. So that would have been done later. I love these windows. And this piece on the chimney right here, I found it on eBay for sale. So we'll see that up close. And again, note the brick. And note the the mud hill here. Another interior shot, and you've got the lathe and plaster here. You got actual 2x4s as the end walls. You've got I was in at Lowe's today, and they actually still sell pieces like this, and that is the circumpunct. That is the original symbol for the creator, and they still sell that actual piece at Lowe's at the hardware store. They have that today. I had it in my hand because I saw it, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know that they still sold these. There's another one right there. And there's some radiator heat right here. That's interesting. I've not noticed that before. And note the bricks here. How they're a common brick, but more importantly, they're a fired brick. There's your circumpunct on the window. All right. Welcome, Machine Head 69, and happy Halloween. Okay, and this is a good one showing the mud hill here. One of the questions I have is what is under here? I don't know. I did not get a determination on that. I would love to know that. I don't know what this building here is. It could be the bathroom. I don't think it's the well house. I've come off that. First off, it's way too big to be a well house. Another thing is they had a little creek running beside the house. And I think they tapped into a little stream, a stream that was right beside the house. I think that's where they got their water from. I think this could be the outhouse, originally, but I don't know what it was used for later, and I could be wrong because it does have bathrooms, or a bathroom, but that would have been added later, so it's really hard to tell what that building is. It's just falling apart there. But as the legend says, that the lady could see, a woman hanging from the ceiling on this floor here. So she would have seen through these windows. I'm not sure what part of the house this is in. I did not determine that, but it is strange because of the back here. It looks like those retaining blocks, or the retaining wall blocks. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought this was, when I first looked at this, I thought this was a roof, but it's not. It's and I tell you what, for several reasons. One, I found a picture where the guy was talking about, and I'll show it to you later. There's a weird thing, and he couldn't even explain what the hell was going on. And I'll have to explain it more later. But he said he thought maybe the floor collapsed, and I'm wondering if this is the floor from the angle of the bottom from looking down, and then the picture he was showing was looking up, and then the picture he was showing was looking down. I'm not really sure, but this is a floor, and you can tell by the bracing right here. From my knowledge, they don't put bracing in roof structures, in the rafters, back then. So I don't think that is. These bricks are not the bricks that were used to build the house at all. I don't know what these bricks are. These are not, they definitely are not what the house is constructed of. But this to me, and I could be wrong, it looks like those retaining blocks. So I'm wondering if this is the mud hill, but I don't know. I just don't know. Now this is the building where I think this possibly was the workshop of the house, and I think that this might be where the wheel was for where the electricity was used, because the old water wheel is on the back of this building. And this also would be the building that, if the legend is true, that the slave dug under the building and dug out to go to the house to kill the master, this is the building I believe that would have happened from. This is also a Mudflooder building, and you'll see why when we look at it from different angles. But you can see you got this door here that is very strange. It's a door, it really looks more like a window, and I think it is a window, and I think you'll see why. They also did the Freemason facade foundation there. And I want you to take note of the bricks that are used. These are a common brick. And these look just like the bricks that were inside the house. And I also want you to take a look here over the window at the top of this arch or door, but I think it's a window. I mean, it looks just like a window with a door put in it. But I want you to take note of this. I think that this is what the original house looked like. And I'll explain that to you later. And look here, it's got this here too. You notice it's got the same roof. And then you got these windows over here that have that same, lintel there. So that's very interesting to me. And look at the chimney and the brickwork there, how beautiful that is. It's another picture of the stairs. A little bit better quality. You got these little pieces on the side that are pretty interesting. This house is not, the most immaculate house. There's a circumpunct right there, and another one right there. So these are symbols for the creator. There's another one right there. Look at the moldings right here. Um, this house isn't the most elaborate house in the world, but for a farmhouse in the middle of, out outside of Lancaster, Ohio, you know, this is a pretty damn nice house. It's a pretty damn nice house for nobody really knowing the history of it too. And look how this curving of the wall here. That's pretty interesting. Got some graffiti on the wall. And surprisingly, there's not more graffiti. This is the water wheel. This is off the back of the back building that I was just showing you, with the door the window that looked like a door, or was used as a door. But this is the water wheel, and I think that it's possible that they use this water wheel to create their electricity. That's a theory. There's no information as to how they created electricity. The only thing it says is that they had a generator, but in order to generate that electricity, you have to have a way to generate the power to run the generator. And they're not talking about they had a generator and they like gassed it up. They're talking this is back in the day. This is like before electricity, that they had electricity in this house. So, I'm not talking about they had a generator. I'm talking about they had the ability to create electricity and generate it, and they used a generator then to power the house and the farm. And notice that you've got the bricks on the side here. I think this is what the original bricks were right here, and I'll show you why. I want you to note these things as we go. There's that old stove again. I can't even imagine how somebody stole that. Like that had to be just, they had to have a bad back by the time they got done with that. All right, and here is a different view of that outhouse, and this is the one that I believe that the slave would have dug under to dig out of in order to go and kill the master. Like I said, I don't know if the story is true. It could be just a legend. There is no historical evidence for this, but this is the legend of the house. And since we're, trying to scare ourselves silly here, let's, roll with it. Why not? Ain't got nothing better to do. So anyways, note the windows, note the bricks. Check that chimney out. But also notice that it's the same with this building as the house. It's covered on the same exact side. The house is back here behind the building. You'll see it later. You'll understand the lineup. But it's got the same strange mud up against the side of the house. Just like they're both the same, exactly the same. Like, I've never seen this before except in this house, and I'm seeing it 2 times on 2 different structures right beside each other at the same, coming in the same angle. And they also have both this retaining wall, you'll see better pictures of it later, that they put in order to keep back the mud. So I'm wondering if this structure has another story to it. We're already at 3 stories, even though they're kind of short. But I'm wondering if there's another one. And I believe this structure is still there. Another interior shot. Welcome, Morgan. Happy Halloween. How you doing? And got this interesting little arched, possibly fireplace right here. Got your circumpunct representing the creator. And notice the bricks, interior bricks. and how they've just plastered over the bricks inside. I believe this is the room that had the fire back here, and you'll see better pictures of it later. There are stories that there were once stained glass windows up in the upper levels, and I did find some interesting windows, which may be what they're talking about. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what building, which I don't know if this is the main house or the back house, the back building. But you've got the what looks to be the retaining wall of one of them. Now, this right here is a mechanism that is part of the electric generator system. So this would have been a pulley system that would have driven things, and you can see there's multiple pulleys here. So this is part of the electrical system of either the house, or it is maybe even they had power going out to the workshop, back behind. I don't know which building this is. I wish I did. But that's pretty interesting. That's a old wash, like a wash machine, I think, because that's a strainer right there, a clothes strainer, I believe. I believe that's an old wash tub. Okay, it's an interior shot, and I want you to take special note of the brick, that it's a common brick, it's a fired brick, and I want you to take special note of the mortar. That's an old brick. That's that good brick. That's that old world brick. A shot of the stairs looking down. Somebody came in and cut out the railings here, and I believe I have a picture of the railings. This is what they would have looked like right here. Not sure why they would have taken that. There are stories of hippies living in this house at one point in the 60s, and maybe they took them to burn them. Maybe. I don't know. And it's interesting how you got the staircase winding down and it goes down, down, down. That's pretty cool. This is some of the flooring. Looks like a tile flooring. It's an overhead shot, and the mud hill is right here. You have the outbuilding back over this way. And the roof is in, pretty rough shape. They've taken off the iron cresting already, it looks like. But we'll see that up close. I've got images of that. And you can see the retaining wall pretty interesting right here. And I believe this retaining wall goes into the house. I believe that they put it all the way through. It's very weird. I would love to know what's under that, but I don't know. The other headshot, you got some sort of, like they're covering something up right there. That could have been a water well. There's the generator house right there. I think this was a chimney, but I'm not positive. This is a good view. This is these two houses here are the ones that have the mud up against them. So this is the mud side right here and here, and you notice that the mud's on the same side. The houses are running, the buildings are running the basic same direction. They look like it's hard to tell if they're actually parallel, but they're kind of in the general direction. And so is this one. This one is turned almost a different direction. I don't know what this building is. It almost looks like a chicken coop. And you will see later there was it's surrounded by fields, but then there was at one time an actual barns and things behind, and I don't know what this building is here. And I believe this building, and this building, I believe, are still there today. The generator building and the house are gone now, sadly. And you can see that it's down in the mud. I mean, what a weird way to build. And you see the mud just comes right across. It's like it came in this direction and then filled it in, and then somebody finds this house and they're just like, yeah, this, I bet this is the carriage house with a barn door like that is a very carriage house looking. I bet that's what that is. I still don't know what this building is. You have any ideas? Let me know. When did this house get demolished? 2015, I believe. We'll see more on that later. Interesting black and white of it. Looks like there was a tree back here at one time. Another one over here. Those are gone. Interesting. And you see that, it's in a little bit better shape. That's an interesting shot. It's like it's cleared out a lot. You can see that retaining wall right there now real good. And you got a window, and then you got this right here, which is the door, but it almost looks out of place. It almost looks like they blew the wall out and put a door in. So that's a little bit sus to me. And you can see this retaining wall here. And why would you build this house out of brick and then put it up against a hill and then have to build a retaining wall on it in order to keep the moisture and the dirt out? Why not just level it off? That doesn't make any sense. The dog don't hunt. This is a great picture. I really like this one. It really has a lot of detail to it. It's interesting right there. You got, looks like two doors. That's a interesting piece. Right here you have an opening, and right here you have an opening. Now that doesn't prove, that there's a basement, but it's interesting. What that obviously goes under there, and yes, you need ventilation under there, but a lot of times they would hide the mudflood winters that way. And got some more opening there, and of course you got the new facade that's put here. Look at that decoration, that cresting there. Very nice. Are they bringing in free energy is another question. It's like, okay, they had, they were creating their own electricity. Well, maybe they maybe had a free energy system like all the others. It's very possible. Maybe it wasn't a water wheel that was creating the power. Maybe, see, it's still got the cresting here, and up on top you can see it just barely there, but it's there. And I've got close-up pictures of that, so you'll see that later. I still got the windows in it here. This is a very old picture here. Don't know how old. And it's interesting. They've built a walkway here to go up to this level. And I think at one point that this stair wasn't here. I might have read that somewhere, but that it was a straight across shot that you could walk across that. But the stories are few and far between to get good information about this. A lot of these pictures are grainy. Look at this old tree next to it, and look at how high the mud is on this side. That's interesting. It looks like they might have graded the back here. I never noticed that before. Very, very possible. It's something to consider. There's that old tree. Those trees are gone now. But I'm wondering if that door was put in there, after they found it, surrounding mud. Why would you build? Like, look, I mean, here's what's weird is it's flat here. Why would you not put this building right here in the flat spot? Or why would you not fill this up and make it, why would you not grade the land? Why would you build into a hill? It just doesn't even make sense. This whole mess right here is like very telling to me. Very, very sus. And this is a good view of. I know this isn't the clearest picture, but notice the brick on this building. Mainly the color, I think, is best way you're gonna be able to tell, and then the brick on the house. And if you have a good keen eye, I think you're gonna see that's different brick. You got the diamond symbology in the roof here. That is an old ass roof. That is an old roof. Now that is quality. If that thing is as old as they say it is, and that roof is still on that house, and it's still there today, that is an old world ass roof right there you're looking at. And see, they did this foundational covering all across the bottom here. That's like a concrete covering. And take note of that, because we're gonna look at more of that later. This is a great picture, old picture. One of the oldest pictures I found. And I don't know who these people are. I have no idea. Got some sort of structure up here. I don't know if that's the barns that were there later, but I don't know. And you can see the cresting, the ether fencing up on top there. Something going on back there, some kind of fence back there. That is an old picture. These bay windows are, I don't know what you call these, like outcropped windows. It's just really cool. Very nice little. It was a beautiful little home. I mean, it had I believe I read that it had 22 rooms and 10 of them were bedrooms. So I mean, that's big. Okay, this is a news article that I found from the Lancaster Eagle Gazette, Thursday, January 30th, 1919. And this is talking about the sale of the property and the house. So this is actual documentation that has a little story to tell, I think. Closed Wednesday afternoon involving the B.F. Ruff Farm, and that is the Mudhouse mansion located in Pleasant Township near Colfax. Henry Hartman, purchaser, and $38,000 the consideration. One of the biggest farm deals ever made in Fairfield County was closed up yesterday by agent Frank Faulkner. Folker, excuse me. This thing's hard to read. Son who sold the superb farm of Mr. Ben F. Ruff, retired farmer residing on North High Street, to Henry Hartman of near Colfax for a consideration of $38,000. The deal included the 270-acre farm on which it is located, a splendid 10-room modern pressed brick house. Now, I want you to take special note of that wording right there. I think that right there is highly interesting wording, and I'm going to explain that to you later. Modern pressed brick house. Pressed brick. I want you to remember that. Write that down. Okay, we're going to talk about that later. And about $3,000 worth of stock and other property on the premises taken by Mr. Hartman. There is an ever-flowing spring on the premise near the residence that for over 40 years has flowed a 10-inch stream and feeds a beautiful artificial lake just east of the residence, which is stocked with the finest of fish and which affords many tons of the finest ice every winter. The farm has long been considered one of the finest pasture farms in the county, and the residence a most desirable one because of the modern residence, which is most attractive in architecture, convenient and comfortable in arrangement, and beautifully romantic in a large tract, embracing a spacious and most charming, and I cannot read the rest of it, but it's right here. But that is the best of the article that I could get. So that's some very interesting information, I think. This is one of the crest pieces that was this picture was taken of it after it had fallen off the roof. And that is an old world crest piece right there. That's an old world ether fencing. Very ornate. That is old. That is old as hell. That is very old. Another side shot. I'm wondering if that tree is maybe dead, had maybe died or something. All right. Oh, this is a good shot of the farm. You got the house right here and the outbuilding here. I believe that's the carriage house, and then you could see the big barn that was back behind it, and you see they had a fence back here, up here, but they had some barns, so several barns. This was a quite a big farm. They still farm on the land, and I don't know when this picture was taken. This is an old picture. It's kind of a strange looking picture. That I wonder if it maybe got skewed somehow. I don't know, but it's still kind of odd. Um, you can see the ether fencing still on top, still got the cresting on it. Alrighty. And this image was it was it's two pictures. It's the lady is overlaid onto someone else's photograph of the house. Um, but it's just cool. It's an artistic representation of the house and the story. I just thought it was pretty cool to see it that way. And I think for a house in the middle of nowhere, it's amazing that we have the information we do have, even though it's not as much as I wish I could have. But I think we can do a pretty good little investigation here. This one's a good one, of the retaining wall on the back little outhouse here. And it's interesting to me how they built into the wall. It looks like they almost like they took out the bricks and built the retaining wall into the structure. That's very interesting. And I'm wondering if this the symmetry here, that's symmetrical. That's symmetrical. That's symmetrical. But then you got this, and it's like, it's a little bit odd to put that right. I don't know. It's just odd the way it's there. It just looks odd to me. And maybe it's nothing, but it's just a little bit strange, I think. I like this one. This one's really pretty. It's a real shame that something this interesting has to be demolished. We no longer have this. Like so many other buildings, they're just gone. I don't know what this building is. I don't know. Put in the comments what you think it might be. I believe this picture might have been taken the day they were demolishing it. Quite possibly. But this is, I think, the first picture we've had that shows the back side here very well. But it's interesting. They did it looks like they might have done the same thing where they put the stone blocks up underneath the bricks there. Which, that's very interesting to me. I wish that was a better quality picture. You got a window up here. It's just very weird. I mean, you kind of have to wonder and ask the question, okay, if you're going to build a house this strange, why would you make this a window and not a door? Why would you not put, you got this side door over here. Why would you not put the door here? That's a odd question. This one's a good one. This is nice, good quality. Now look at this concrete foundation that they've added. Now, what is underneath that? And take a lot of note of this brick here with this white mortar. And notice how thin it is. And this is a great example right here. Look how clean, look how new, look um how like it. I literally was at Lowe's today, looked at the bricks, and they looked exactly like this, except they had holes in them. They had 3 holes in them, but they looked exactly like this. They were called shell bricks. They looked exactly like this. They were smooth. They were perfect. Look how perfect these are, and remember what the interior bricks look like. There's something going on there. There's something strange about that to me. Check out this coming down off of here. Some kind of wire. I don't know what that is. Look at that detail right there. It's amazing that the better the quality, the more you can see. Look at that inset right there. Alrighty. Believe this could be a painting. I'm not sure. I wonder what this is right here. It's like something fell down. I'm not sure what that is. This is on the back of a house, and you can see here's that really nice, flat, smooth, perfect. Everything is the same size. I want you to take note of that. I want you to take note of that. I want you to notice that. I want you to pay close attention. I think that tells a story. And here's those retaining wall blocks. Why would you build a house that you had to put big ass retaining wall blocks on one side in order to keep the mud from pushing it over, or the water to come in? Because that's exactly what would happen, is the water would come through the dirt and soak right through the mortar. That's why you don't build a foundation out of brick. And it's hard to tell, but look right there how that is one layer. One layer thick, and almost, it's hard to say, but gosh, they look, I don't know, that's just something weird about that right there. I can't even say what's weird about that. Something's weird about that. That's an interesting shot. You see, you got your water wheel over here. I don't think this was the original location of the water wheel, but it could have been, maybe. I don't know. It just seems like a strange place to put the water wheel. And you can see the retaining wall right here. So they did a retaining wall on 2 sides of this building. So the mud came in from this side and this side. It came down and over, and over here, you remember we were looking at that tree where the hill was higher. It looks to me like they may have graded this down or something, or maybe when they took the trees down, they graded it down. Very interesting. But look, that hill is as high as one whole story. That is a lot of mud. And look at the quality. These, even though these bricks aren't as pretty as the bricks on the house, these are the same kind of bricks that are on the inside of the house. And these bricks are old world. These are old bricks. These are old, brick. They're fired bricks. These are old ass quality brick. I would put, if I was going to put a bet, and I had to put a bet on which brick I would think would hold up to a pressure test, I would bet on this brick right here and not the brick on the outside of the house. And notice that the brick on the generator house is the same as the brick on the house. There's that room we were looking at earlier that it's a collapsed floor. So this looks like it's taken from outside through the window into that room. And you see the blocking here. When you see the cross brace blocking, that's old. We don't do that anymore. We don't do it that way anymore. So that's, when I see that, that's a telltale sign of old world. All right. I like this shot with the fencing, and I don't know, it's just kind of cool. The colors. It's just really a cool shot. You got something going on right here. Not sure what it is. Some kind of machinery or something. I don't know. Kind of weird. Right there, you can see that Mudflood coming down right there. Right there. There's something that I just noticed. I've noticed this electrical pole out here, but notice how the electrical pole is not on the house. I mean, we had the barns over here, which are gone now. That is for the barns. That's not for the house. Now, they might have run power from that pole, but this is later. This was done later. This was not done for the house. And the reason I know that is because if you were going to run this for the house, it would run to the house. You're not going to run it to the barn and then to the house. They ran this to the barn. The barn was up here. That's interesting. This has got neat colors in this picture. See that retaining wall? There's that weird collapse right there. Hard to tell what that is, though. It's interesting. This is a cool picture. I don't know. I just like the texture of it. It almost looks like a pan tilt shift shot, if you know what that means. It's got that weird pan tilt shift look. Carriage house over here. Looks like they did that concrete foundation down here on this one too. You can see it here and then here. And I don't know about the other buildings. I don't see it on those though. How pretty is that? I mean, come on. Wonder if that's the old tree. We'll see a close-up of that piece later. It's a neat shot. I love black and white. It just gives a whole different thing, you know. It I don't know. I just see better in black and white, you know. The quality, like your mind doesn't need the colors. Oh, Beagle's up. This is interior. I believe this is the room where the fire was in, and they had to break open the floor. And unfortunately, we don't, have images of what's under the floor. Maybe, maybe there's a basement. I don't know. I do have a little something that shows there might have been a basement, but we'll look at that. And look at how they did the plumbing here through the ceiling, right through. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That is an addition. Wow. All right. So I'm going to stop that for now. And we're going to take us a little patrol break because somebody's got to go patrol. And we will, let's see. Let me get this. And we're going to play our little Halloween video, and we will be back shortly. Hope you guys are having a good Halloween, and we're going to do our little break now.
I know this is difficult, Mary, and that's why we're here to help, okay?
I miss Peter. I miss him so much.
Mary, I want you to try to remember what happened 22 years ago on Christmas night in Lowell.
That's really grew up.
Yes. Can you tell me what happened that night in Lowell?
Nothing happened.
Mary, something did happen. That's why we have these sessions to help you remember so you can get better, okay?
No. I can't remember.
Follow. Patient is showing extreme agitation. She's putting her fingers in her mouth. Mary.
Have you seen our doll, Mr. Doctor?
Who am I speaking with?
Mary got a China doll from her mommy, and we can't find it now.
No, Princess, I haven't seen it. Maybe Billy knows where your China doll is.
Oh, silly.
Princess, tell me what happened on Christmas 22 years ago in Lowell.
Princess, Mary got a pretty China doll, and Peter got a big old knife.
Then what happened?
Mary's mommy and daddy went to sleep. Then we played upstairs. Peter turned off the lights and hid, and Mary tried to find him.
Who played upstairs, Princess?
Mary and Peter and me and Silly.
Has Billy told you what happened next?
Billy only tells me nice things, Mr. Doctor. Like that I'm pretty.
Princess, was Simon there that night?
Simon? I don't know Simon.
Billy never told you about Simon?
I'm tired, Mr. Doctor.
Maybe Billy would like to talk now.
Billy's asleep, Mr. Doctor. He's asleep.
I can't talk anymore. I'm too tired.
Here's Mrs. Watson is now entering a dissociative state, rubbing her eyes. Here's Stephen switching to an alternate reality. Mary.
Hello, sir.
Well, hello, Billy. How have you been?
Never better, sir.
Billy, where does the princess live?
In the tongue,
Why the tongue?
because she's always talking, sir.
And where do you live, Billy?
I live in the eyes. You know that.
Remind me though, why the eyes?
Because I see everything, sir.
And where does Simon live, Billy? Where does Simon live? Why are you crying, Mary? Mary, can you tell me how you got those scars on your chest?
How many times do I have to tell you? I fell off my bike when I was a girl.
Is that what you remember, Mary?
Yes.
Now, can you tell me who the princess is?
No idea.
And who Billy is?
I don't know anyone named Billy.
Who is Simon, Mary?
I have no idea who Simon is. I am sick of this session. I just want to go back to my room.
Mary? Mary?
Mary is asleep, sir.
Billy, why won't you tell me what happened in Lowell? I know you saw what happened.
You know perfectly well what happened, sir.
But Mary needs to know what happened, Billy. She needs to remember.
No!
Well, then maybe Simon would like to tell me what happened.
He's asleep.
Help me wake up Simon,
No!
Billy. We must wake up Simon, Billy.
Get up!
Billy, you have to wake up Simon. And Billy, you understand that you, the princess, and Simon are all in Mary.
Yes, sir.
And if Mary is sick, then you are sick too. All of you.
Yes, sir.
You want Mary to get better, right, Billy?
Yes.
So help her, Billy. Tell me about that night in Lowell, Billy.
We were playing hide and seek, sir. Mary was hugging the new doll, and she was looking for Peter. It was real dark. No, I won't tell. Mary's a good girl. She doesn't need to know.
What?
Like Simon did.
To who, Billy? To who?
Peter.
What did Simon do to Peter, Billy? Billy, I need to talk to Simon. You need Billy, wait. Oh, Simon. Billy. You need to wake up, Simon. Wake up, Simon.
Hello, Doc.
Simon.
You know who I am.
Billy has told me a lot about you.
Billy is a smart boy.
What happened on Christmas night in Lowell?
Use your imagination.
I'd rather you tell me, Simon.
Peter was naughty, Doc.
What did Peter do?
He shouldn't have done it, Doc. But Mary wanted to do it. So she did it.
Why did you do it, Simon?
Because Mary let me talk. They always do. They always do.
And where do you live, Simon?
I live in the weak and the wounded. Doc.
All righty, we are back. Okie dokie. Hope you had a good little break, and we're going to get back into it. Oh, wait, somebody wants a biscuit. Let's see. Yes, can you get a biscuit? You want to get a biscuit out of there? You want me to get it out for you? You want a biscuit? Okay. You'll tear ass out of here, and we can get back to business. I hope you guys are having a good Halloween. Not too scared, are we? Scared of little Mudflooder Mansion? Haunted Mudflooder Mansion? If you're coming in late and you want to know the history, start at the beginning and watch forward. And I go through the little history there. Put together a little video to share that. But we're going to get back into our pictures and get back to our investigation. So let me make sure that we change here. Give it a minute to switch over, and hopefully it will be right. Okay, and let me set my little doodad because it does not do it itself for some reason. Okay, we're back. And okay, and I'm not sure where this is. I'm not sure what. Okay, it's got the smooth brick. So this could be the generator room, maybe. I don't know. That looks like a furnace. Looks like smoke has charred the brick here. And that is a chimney, which would be going up through the brick. But I'm not sure where this is. It's hard to say. So that's interesting. But note the smooth but it's aren't toys. Note the smooth brick with the small white mortar. Very interesting. All right, we got a little side here. This one shows I think this is a carriage house. That is very carriage housey looking to me. Must have been a tree over here at one point that dropped down. And that's interesting too. Note how the power line comes in past the house and goes to the back where the barn is. Why would you not stop the power line over here at the house and then go to the barn? I mean, that's a telltale sign that was definitely done considerably later, and quite possibly not even for the house. And I just don't know what this building is. And this little window here, this little porthole is interesting. And you've got, what could be a wind catcher there. This one shows that brick pretty good. It's like you got some foundational collapse right there. Maybe. Hard to say. bricks popping out or something. Something's not right. They got cracking there. It looks like it may be a foundational drop or something. Hard to say. Something going on. And this is fire damage. You see the charred wood right here. So you could tell where the fire came up and over, burned through there. So that explains why there was all that damage on the side there. There's a good look at that stone blockage retaining wall. Very odd. It's a good one of the outbuildings. This little porthole here is quite strange. Can't really tell what kind of the brick is on there. There's that building. That kind of looks like it could be a chicken coop, maybe. I don't know. It looks like an animal coop of some sort. Alrighty. Okay, so this is that outbuilding. Get a little bit closer to that door. I just want to see if there's any difference in how they did this and did the window. I don't see a real difference, but the bricks line up right. But I mean, that would be easy to knock out bricks and put the door there. I'm just wondering if this was an addition that they just took it out of here and then used the bricks from the construction, what was taken out of here to build the doorway, and just matched what was there. But I can't really tell. The mortar looks the same. I don't see any telltale signs of hanky-panky. This is, they talk about stained glass being in on the upper floors. I read about that. I'm wondering if this is from that. I don't know. It might be what they're talking about though, because that's, even though it's not colored stained glass, it's the structure of a stained glass kind of thing. I don't know. But see, you've got a toilet, so this was an addition here. When was this added? This was added later. And I think that's an important thing because as I will share with you as we go through this investigation, I think that they modernized this home, that they updated this home, that they did some work on this home. And I don't think it's documented. And I'll show you why later. Note the interior brick here. You got the fired brick. It's a sink upside down. This is one of the old bed from, this is on the 3rd floor. That looks comfy. Some old radiators. I believe radiators are old world. Now, if you've got radiators, then, you got to be generating steam. So maybe the steam was part of that generator system. Got circumpunks on the doorways. Here's that old stove. This is interesting. It's got the door closed this time. And I do realize a lot of these pictures look the same, but they are different. I've gone through very meticulously and made sure they were different. So if I do show you a picture, you can be assured it is a different picture, even though it may look, considerably the same. You just never know, depending on the quality of the image, the angle of the image, the time the image was taken, you may see different things. Looks like a blower going into a furnace. Now this is probably what was generating the steam. Be my guess. Looks like a old water heater there. But I would say this is after 1900. Would be my guess on this, but I don't know. That is, definitely newer, I would say. Nobody's lived in here for a long time. And a lot of the stuff got taken out when they had the fire. So that's why there's not much furniture left in there. Oh, that's interesting. That piping is going to radiators right here that we were looking at earlier. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. Beagle, what are you doing? Like, go find something. Like, go play or something. Beagle's going crazy. Pretty sure. This is on the 3rd floor. It's these smooth walls. They look almost like they look like somebody has done a remodel at some point on this house. It looks so plain on the decoration. Like, where's the molding? You can see where a molding was, or a molding was removed, but I bet it was more ornate. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, look how plain this looks. But see, the thing about modernizing, it's like remove the old, and make it plainer. Oh, that's better, which it ain't. But I mean, that's what at one point we went through that phase of, modernization, and this is that weird photo. The guy that where I got this photo, he was talking about this photo being very strange. And I will agree, it is very strange. And it is something I'm not going to be able to explain very well. But basically what he said was that this is a floor right here. And then you got this door here. But then you got this here, this open area. It's like he said he thought maybe the floor fell or something, and he wasn't sure what the hell was going on here. And I don't know what floor this is on, but he made a very strange comment that this area was very, very strange to him when he took this picture. That he noted it was very so odd he couldn't understand the construction. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. And there's the railing before it was removed. Like I said, not super elaborate, but it's quality. There's another picture of the railing. This was interesting. Um, I ran across this, and when I read it, it kind of got me thinking. Okay, I think I don't know the provenance of this picture, but it's like somebody wrote a poem about Mudhouse Mansion, and this is their poem. I just want to read this to you because it's interesting. Mudhouse Mansion, on the other side of Lancaster, lurks a house atop a hill with busted out old windows and a cellar which doest does fill. The rain pours in as the day turns dim and trickles into night. All that can be seen is darkness and a house in the damp moonlight. The wind begins to blow. The trees take their cue to sway. Faint screams can be heard in the distance. Another life out does its stay. But this little line right here I thought was very interesting. And a cellar which dust does fill. A cellar. Where's the cellar? I just thought it was interesting. There's that old stove again. You can tell these are old pictures. Looking down the stairs. Not a great picture, but this is the back, and there's the generator house on the back house. Retaining wall. Refrigerator. That's an oldie. That is an old one. There's that old bed we saw a minute ago. This is a weird picture. It's like that's weird. I don't know. There's almost like a window frame. No, I don't know what that is. There's that tile or some tile. Maybe that is hiding a fireplace. I think this is just sitting on top of something. I bet that's a fireplace. I don't know. That's hard to tell. I don't think any of this furniture is too modern. I think almost almost looks like stuff the hippies might have brought in when they camped out here in the 60s. It almost looks like just stuff they brought in to sit in and live in there. I don't see it being old world or old, furniture, to me. It's not the best pictures, but they do show something. Look at the wall there. This is the third floor. So, you got your mansard roof is why it's weird, but it's just weird. Like a very strange way of doing your wall. Of course, you got to have some symbolism drawn somewhere. That's a pretty picture. But see, look at that. You got your electric coming past. The road is to the left. I'll show you that later. The road is to the left, about 150 feet to the left. And you run the electric all the way back here, maybe 50 feet past the house, maybe more, and then run it over. Why would you not? This is the main house. Why would you not stop the electric back here and then run the pole to the house, or run the electric down and connect to the house. Why would you? It almost looks like the feeder's coming off of here. It looks like it might have come and gone this way to the house, and then they might have gone underground here for the barns. It's just, to me, that's odd. I'm not an electrician, so I don't know. This is an artistic photograph or picture that somebody made. I just thought it was interesting. I don't think this car was ever there. I think that's just artistic. I think the foreground is artistic. I just thought it was cool. Neat little picture. And I think you're getting the gist of the layout of the house. I couldn't find the blueprint. This is a cool picture. Black and white ones are so cool. And I think this is interesting, the way the negative did here. It just looks strange, doesn't it? It almost looks like it's missing a floor right there. Like it's like it, to me, in my, Mudflood thinking, it looks to me like there should be another floor. That it's it's a 3-story with a attic. And the first floor is buried. To me, in that picture, that's what that looks like to me. It looks like a house that's been buried in mud. It's interesting. I can't prove it, but it is interesting. And that's what I'm interested in. I just, that's what gets the old rocks going up in here. I mean, this is, that's an interesting picture right there. And look right there. Could it be? Could it be? I don't know. What is that right there? That's interesting. And that's interesting right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got that Mudflood window look to it. Matter of fact, I may even have a picture of that up close. That might be, I have a picture. I didn't know where it was, and I bet that's it. I'm going to keep that in mind when we run across it. Looks like they've maybe moved some bricks there. You can see the cresting up top and the finials. Just how weird is that? That's the second floor. That's just so strange. Hey, Beagle, what are you doing? You having a good Halloween? You wonder where the Halloween candy is? I ain't got no Halloween candy. We don't eat that swine. No Halloween candy for you. No, sir. You can have some fruit later. You want some fruit? Oh, look at that. It's an old curtain rod. Rounded curtain rod. That's weird. I've never seen that before. There's another one. How weird is that? I've never seen that before. No, it'll be none of that. Go on. You done went out. You done had a biscuit. I ain't got time for it. That looks like a chimney. And notice the bricks. They're fired bricks, common fired bricks. And there's that retaining wall. And I don't know if this is on the main house or the outbuilding. I don't know. Because remember, they both have retaining walls and they're both designed the same way. So I don't know. I just don't know. You see that concrete foundation that they've installed. That smooth brick. Got some orbs in this picture. This is the roof, and there's that crest that we saw a picture of earlier. That would be the ether fencing. And I'll show you up closes of this. No, I think it's this one. Either one. They might be the same, but one of these I've got pictures of. I actually found it on eBay. And yes, I do check eBay for research. You wouldn't believe what you'd find on eBay. I'll go anywhere that has the research. If it's got what I need, I'm going. I don't care. It's amazing what you could find, just looking in weird places. I found some of my best research on eBay. You wouldn't believe what people put on there. This is a great overhead shot showing the that damn thing right there popping up. Hey, Beagle. Okay, you got your outbuilding here and the main house here, and you can see the road, and you can still see the road on Google Earth. Not like visually, but you can see on the drone map. I'll show it to you. But you see this humongous barn, and the power would have been up in here somewhere. I don't really see it in the picture. They ran that power somewhere up here. So, they ran it to this area, which is weird. Why would you run it to there? Why would you not run it to the main house? I don't know. That just seems back asswards to me, and all these are newer modern structures. None of this is old world. This is all just was stuff that was built for the farming. And note this fence that's here. That's long gone. And you got this, looks like the gate here to go in. I'm not sure where the stream is. I'm wondering if the stream is down here. Nice black and white. This was a comment that I ran across in a forum. People talking about it. And I just thought it was interesting. I thought I'd share. This is September 2008, the year I woke up. I received the following information from Chad P. I have some information that you might find interesting. I became interested in the house, Mudhouse Mansion, a few months back due to a friend who drives by it every day. So I started doing my research, and the best book that I found was My Father. My father's name is Emmett Pinkstock. That's a weird name. And he grew up in the Lancaster region his whole life. He actually lived in the white house next to the Mudhouse house. While he was a young boy, it burnt down in a fire a few years back. And that house was at the front of the road, right by the gate entrance, which I'll show you later, but that house is gone. That was one of two fires that happened at the property. His father and the last owner, Helena Hartman, were good friends. He gave me some really great info on the house and the stories. The house was still in order until the late 1960s when Helena passed away. She had inherited the house through her parents, who were farmers at the time they passed. Dad told me of the beauty that was in the house. There were 22 rooms with 10 bedrooms, all upstairs. He told me that all the windows upstairs were all stained glass. The outhouses outside held different things. One building behind the back, he explained, was a generator room where they made their own electricity. Another building was divided in two sections for their carriages and a blacksmith shop. Helena was never married and was a farmer who raised cows on the property. Dad remembers going up as a young boy and helping with the animals in the farm. She was famous for her onion gravy that she fixed. Gross, I know. She was a very simple woman and was a sweetheart by all means. She wore simple dresses and looked like she didn't have a toilet to pee in. He explained to me that when she died, the house was left the way it was. She was never married and had no kids. The house went over to her nephew, who already had a fortune of his own. And also, with the name of the house, he referred to it as the Hartman Mast House. Mudhouse was on the other road across the street. It was actually made of mud and rock. So the house was left pretty much to just decay away after she died. That's the reason it is in the shape it is. He told me that after she died, there were numerous break-ins for the furniture that she kept inside. He explained that she had silver everything and clocks throughout the house that were encrusted with rubies. As far as the current owner, Jeannie Mast, she really isn't that mean old lady that everyone takes her to be. She's in her early 80s, who lives right down from the house. I've been able to talk to her about the history. That house is amazing. But there is no Bloody Marys or war general with slaves. Just rumors that came about. The house was one of the first brick ones in Lancaster, and it was one of the finest. So, of course, like she said, you're going to have legends and stories about it. I just thought that was very fascinating. Good piece of little research there. I really like that. This was an interior shot, which I believe shows a possible old world fireplace, what we call fireplace, but old world heating element, whatever you want to call it, antiquitech heating apparatus. It's hard to see, but it's definitely interesting. You know, why would you put a fireplace and then have all this above it? It's because that doesn't burn fire. I think they burn fire in it later, though. That's a neat picture. Got some orbs in the picture. And look how the mud comes around this side of the house, too, which is very interesting. I wish I could kind of figure that out, like how I'd like to know how the mud works with the little building on the side. It's an interesting shot of that side. This right here just looks like super like sketchy. You know, it looks to me very copied. Yeah, I don't, you know, maybe this was originally a porch that you came out here and there was like an actual porch up here, and it was, you know, in the air, and then they made this contraption after the mud flood. Don't know. Got the ether fencing and crusting there. There's the outbuilding. That's a good quality picture. Look at that stone retaining wall there. There's the water wheel. It says old fire brick right there. That's old world. And look how they cut the wood out around the top of the window here. That's just really cool. That detail, like, that's purposeful. I mean, they could have easily raised that roof just a little bit, but no, that's purposeful. That's not a mistake. Somebody that's building this quality doesn't make a mistake like that. That's not a mistake. That's that they did that. They're like, you know what I can do here? I can make this just a little bit cooler. You know why? Because I can. That's why. And there's that. This is for the electrical system here. These belt pulley systems. And there's that retaining wall. You can see it goes behind that brick wall there. I don't know if this is on the house or on the shop or the outbuilding. Looks like our bed has disintegrated or burned or what, who knows. It's an odd place to put a hole in the wall. You know, what's interesting about these old houses is they didn't put the copper wiring in the walls. So, you know, the crackheads don't go in there and steal the copper wiring in the walls. So they actually make it. The older it is, the better. There's that wash tub business. There's the pulley systems. I wonder what that is. You know, I kind of think that might be the little outbuilding. I just don't know. Whoops. Look at that stone, right? That stone retaining wall there. And look at that. Look at that wire coming down. Look at that. What do we got there? What you got there, huh? Oh, that's a lightning rod. That's for lightning protection. Is it? I don't know. I don't know. Hard to say. I don't know. Could be. I don't know. It's interesting. And notice that smooth brick with that small white facade brick. Now it looks, I wonder if that's just I wonder if it's a slate roof. That's what I'm thinking that is. If that roof has lasted that long, I bet you it's slate. I'm guessing there. All right. Now, that is the end of those pictures. Let me stop screen. Now, let me play. We're going to take a look at the demolition of the home and learn a little bit about that.
Sadness in Lancaster as residents watched in disbelief as the old Mudhouse mansion was demolished yesterday.
The old farmhouse is located in a field at the intersection of Mudhouse and Lake Roads. NBC4's Candace Lee spoke to Lancaster residents who lined the small country road to watch it come down. Candace?
Yeah, Ellie, you know, the Mudhouse mansion is known for ghost stories more than any historical significance. Seeing it come down Monday ushered in a range of emotions for Lancaster residents, from sadness to even anger. A line of cars stretched down Mudhouse Road as a demolition crew took down the Mudhouse mansion. Melanie Skaggs, a lifelong resident of Lancaster, found out on Facebook.
I seen where they was tearing it down, and I was like, oh no.
Built in the late 1800s, the Mudhouse mansion has been owned by the Mass family for nearly 100 years. The family has fought to keep teenagers and trespassers off the property, many times guarding the home themselves. Coming here, especially during Halloween, appears to be a rite of passage for those growing up in Lancaster and those who believe it's haunted.
With all the vandalism over the years, there's been fires set inside. They broke out all the windows,
making the mansion unsafe and a liability. J.J. Bowes was hired to salvage some materials and other items from the demo and, of course, keep the curious from picking through the pile.
And we're just trying to get some items, some of the brick, the sandstone, some of the arches. We were able to save the front door.
Albert Sims also can't believe the Mudhouse is no more.
I drive by here like every day to go to work. And every time I drive by, I think about the stories about it, and it just had a lot of historical, value, I thought.
The good news, those looking to own a piece of this home, which is not listed as an historical landmark as many believe, will get a chance to bid on one of hundreds of red bricks.
And we are going to offer those for sale on amethystandivy.com within probably about 2 weeks.
The Mudhouse may be gone, but the memories will last forever.
Been there a long time, and, a lot of memories of young kids, coming out and trying to go in it and, telling their stories about what happened while they were here.
Many people I spoke to hoped that owner Jeannie Mast would sell the house, allowing someone to refurbish it, but it's an expense that would have cost millions of dollars to complete. In the studio, Candace Lee, NBC4.
Alrighty, so that's the news article on that, and we're gonna look now at some demolition photos, and let me get my screen going here and make sure it switches over, and give it a minute, you guys, ladies and gentlemen. And I have to wait for my screen to update. Oh. Yeah, see, it's going. Hope you guys are doing okay. See, Morgan and Machine and Hippie is still hanging out with us. I'm still waiting on my screen to update here. Wait for it. Come on, stupid thing. I don't know if it's going or not. I can't see it, y'all. Is it going? Is it not? I'm not sure. This thing is so slow. You let me know in the chat if it's up there or not. I can't tell. I don't know. Hold on. Okay, I don't know what it's doing. Bear with me, folks. I'm going to stop screen and try it again. Damn StreamYard. I swear. Ain't worth a damn since they changed it. Let's see if that brings it up. All right, folks, bear with me. I can't help StreamYard being a piece of shit. I can't do nothing about it. Oh, God. So annoying. I think it's up now. All right. Let me switch my thing here. I think it's going now. Hippie, is that thing? I think it's working now. I do believe. All right. I'm gonna go on with it. I guess you can see it. I don't know. I can't tell if y'all can see it or not. Okay, this is the images of the demolition. And these can be very telling about the construction of the house. Okay, you can see the building and the bulldozer. Okay, good. And note right here, there's a little hole in the foundation there. That's kind of interesting. Let's see. And you can see there's I want you to notice right in here, that's kind of important. Let's see what else we got. This is very interesting right here. What I want you to notice is that you've got the nice smooth brick out here, this facade brick, and then behind you've got the fired common brick. And this right here is what's called a pressed brick. And you remember in that news article, it said that the house was a modern pressed brick home. And you can see the difference between the mortar, between these two mortars. We'll get better shots of it later. And there's that facade brick flying through the air. And sorry, I'm trying to fix my screen as I'm talking. This damn laptop, second laptop, just does weird stuff. I can't tell what the hell it's doing, so I'm trying to coordinate two different things here at one time. It's not working too good. And like I said, they left, I believe, this building. That's interesting right there. Ah, there it is. Finally got this stupid thing. This second laptop is the laptop I started my channel with. And I don't know how in the hell I ever used this laptop. It's so incredibly slow. It's dumbfounding that I ever got anything done. And I used it for, I don't remember, 2 years or so before I got this one, my new one. There's that, you see the dirt comes in here, and this is interesting. You can see the retaining wall goes backwards, and look at that right there. They got an opening there. Very weird. Let's see. All right. Trying to play with my other computer here. All right. And so you got that smooth facade brick there. Huh. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. They did a gag when they were tearing it down. They put a person, little ghost, up in the top to go with the legend, just to have a little fun with it. I thought that was kind of funny. That's classic. I wish I could see this area better right here. See what was going on down in there. Look how you got the facade brick here, and you got the common inner brick here. I'd love to know what's up under that hill right there. I bet you there's something interesting there. Or was. They had to tear it down like they do everything else, don't they? There was another ghost in there, Machine Head? I didn't see that one. Well, looking at the demolition is a good way to learn about structures. See the facade brick here? And then you got the common brick behind it. I think these might be, part of the family. I'm not sure. Could be. It's not the Jeannie Mask because she's, elderly. So I don't know who they are, but I sure wish we could see right there what the world is down there. It's got to be something good. Picking through the rubble. It's a very interesting pick. And I think it's very interesting how they left this open right here. You got retaining wall brick, and they left that open. Why did they leave that open? And you see right here clearly two different kinds of brick. You got a pressed brick and a common fired brick. Okay. And you can see it clearly here. The facade brick and there's two layers of brick. There's two types of brick. And I want you to take long, hard note of that. That is two different layers of brick. I think that's very important. I think that tells a story. Go to the stairs. There's that interior brick. Every time you see the interior brick, it's the fired brick, the old world brick. We don't have the structure to investigate anymore, but we have this evidence, and by looking deeper at an individual building, maybe we can gain some insight as to what happened. What is the story that needs to be uncovered? Look how thick this wall is. That is a thick wall, thick wall. And look at that facade brick right there. How thin that is, that outer layer. One course of facade brick. Look at that porthole. You see the facade brick, and you got the common brick inside. See how it's just falling away there? It's not the same quality. This is my opinion. This is common brick. This is the fired brick. It is my opinion that this is old world brick. It is also my opinion that this is not old world brick. Now, I'm not saying that I'm positive that this is not old world brick. That this, I believe, in my opinion, that this is a more modern brick. Okay. And I don't mean like, 1950, but I mean, it's not old world. I don't believe, it is my opinion, this is not old world brick. It is my opinion that the interior is old world brick. And I'm going to show you why I think this. And I'm not saying that this is 100%. This is just my thinking. You can do your own thinking. I'm just showing you what I found. You may find something different. You may come to a different conclusion. That's okay. I just want the truth. I don't, that's what I want. What is the truth? It's a great when you can see that facade brick. Do you see the difference in the color? Two different bricks. Two different bricks. I wonder why they didn't take down the smaller buildings. There's that hole. There's part of the cresting. This person grabbed this one time when they were visiting the house and took it as a souvenir. Which is in the urbex community considered unethical, but if he didn't do that, we wouldn't have these things. Here's I don't know if that's the same. It's a different piece, but this is another piece of it, and that is old world. I think that is old world right there. It has up close and personal with an old world piece of, I believe it to be a part of the EtherTech. You can also see this brick here is the facade brick, and this is the common brick. You see the juxtaposition between the two there. This is I don't know if these bricks here are from the house or not. What I did determine is that the company that demoed these bricks and took these bricks and were going to sell them on a website. The website is now gone. There is no. They sold some bricks. They were selling them for $20 a piece, and now they're gone. I don't know what happened. It just vanished. The bricks vanished. I don't know. But this is one of the chimney pieces. There's several angles of this. This was on eBay. How cool is that? And I don't, like I said, I'm looking at these bricks. I don't think these are the bricks from the house, because you see this line here on the bricks. I don't believe those are from the house. They don't look the same. So I'm pretty sure that's not the right ones. But I was looking at the chimney cap here. Just kind of interesting. This is another piece I found. I believe it's by the same person selling it. It's on eBay. And I believe this is that part of that stone retaining wall. And I believe they made I think this is the part we were looking at earlier where it had the iron fencing attached to it. I think that is the bottom of that. Even though we couldn't see it, I think that's, and that right there, I think, is some of that stone retaining wall. I don't know about these bricks being from the house. These bricks could be from the house. I don't know. It's hard to say. You see that piece is broke off. And I don't think, this is my opinion, I don't think that these retaining wall stones are old world. There's a bunch of them back there. Where did they go? Okay, these are snapshots from the demolition video, and I want you to pay attention to these bricks. These are facade bricks. These are what are called pressed bricks. And I want you to pay particular attention to the smoothness, to the how uniform they are, to how perfect they are, how much that they don't have imperfections. They're all the same color. I want you to pay attention to the mortar used, how it's thinner than usual mortar, how it seems to be cheaper, how it seems to be white, how it seems to be kind of just in places almost not even like it's almost like they put it on with a caulk gun. I mean, look at the bottom of that brick right there. And you're going to see even more. Like, look right here. It's not all the way across the brick like a normal. Look at this right here. It's like it's almost like they put it on with a caulk gun. And look at that. This is the facade brick. And look at that mortar. Okay. This is a pressed brick. Now, what's interesting to me is that if you look up the history of pressed bricks, it says that they were started making pressed bricks in the late 19th century. Okay, and if you go look up what is considered the late 19th century, it'll say between, starting about 1870 to the 1900s. Okay, so if pressed bricks aren't made until the late 19th century, and this home was supposedly built between 1839 and 1852, okay, right there we have a contradiction. Okay, another thing I found was a guy that bought one of these bricks made the comment that, hey, my brick still had the mortar glue on it. And I thought it was a guy just being ignorant about what he was saying. He didn't know what to call mortar, like cement, mortar cement. Like he didn't know the proper terminology. But then I was like, maybe I should look that up. And I just looked it up. And when you look up mortar glue, there's actually a product, a modern product that looks like this, that's called glue mortar. Okay, so that's weird. So what I'm thinking is that my thinking is that they found this building. It's an old world building. It was mud flooded. They found the building, and they occupied it around the mid 1800s, and then it transferred ownership to the second people or the third people, somewhere in there, probably the second group of people that owned it, and they refacaded the whole house and the generator house. That's what I think happened. I think they refacaded this house with facade brick, with pressed brick. That's my theory. I think the original house had that old world fired brick look. And I think the original lintels above the window were made of brick. I think what you see there today is a update. That's my opinion. And if you have a different opinion, if you know more, put it in the comments or put it in the chat or leave it in the comments. I'd like to know more. I'd like to know if there's more to the story. If I can learn more, that's great. I'd like to learn more. I'd like to correct myself if I'm not correct about that. Now let me share this with you, and wait for the wait for it to come up. Okay, and let me fix my little doodaddy here so it's right. Okay, this is Google Earth, and this is the front gate to Mudhouse Mansion, and it's got a little sign here, Mudhouse Mansion, And Mudhouse Road, see right there. And you can't see it from here, but it was right here. You know, obviously it's not there anymore, but you can see the old houses are right here. And you get different angles on it. And you can see overhead. Oh, here's the stream right here. So that would be the stream they were talking about. And you've still got the outbuilding. The Mudhouse Mansion was right here. There's the carriage house, and there's that other building. I'm not sure what it is. So there's 3 buildings left. It doesn't do 3D, but if we drop in, I believe maybe here, I believe the families that own the house, I believe they live over here. And you can look across the field and see the house would have been right here. And when they talk about, you know, they could see the woman hanging in the window, it would have been from one of the houses over here. It'd be the only way I think you could have seen it. Now, I don't know if these houses were here at the time. These houses to me look modern. So, but that doesn't mean that they haven't been or weren't updated at some point. But, you know, that's about the gist of that. Let me get, you can see the road is still visible on the satellite where the road was. So the house was here and the big barn was over here. But to give you an idea of where this is, Lancaster is over here. And the next closest town is Rushville over here. And there's a little town called Pleasantville up here. And Brenham over here. And I thought we'd take a little dive down into Rushville and just kind of take a peek around and see, you know, what other kind of structures are in this area. Oh, look. And give you an idea of what they got going here. I wonder if we can go around the corner there. I don't think we can. That's too bad. And look at that old church. And look, it's got the same kind of roof. Very interesting. But we'll just take a quick look around. Just to see, you know, what else is in the general vicinity of Mudhouse Mansion. And, you know, just see if there's much more old world around. Oh, let's get a little bit closer to that. See if there's kind of weird there. Got some arched windows, so that's old. Some arched windows on that one. And look, it's got the same style as Mudhouse Mansion. And the reason I look at you know, this area is that, you know, the people that built Mudhouse Mansion, the original people, you know, look how deep that goes right there. And look at that. Got some looks like grating with a Mudflood drop in right there. Boom. How you like that? Got Mudflood windows right there. So you got more Mudflood evidence right here. Right in this little tiny town that's right up the street. That old gas lamp. There's a nice little oldie. Looks like the bushes might be hiding something. Little winter on the ground there. But that's about, I think that there ain't too much in this little town. Let me just kind of look around. Let's drop here, see if there's anything this way. Oh, where I went there. Let me go further. Oh, that's as far as it'll go. Oh, I see what it is. Where's the little man go? Oh, okay, that's as far as it'll go. And okay. And then let's take a look over at Lancaster, see what we got going on there. Take a little peeky. It looks kind of maybe here. Oh wow. Check out that one. It looks old world. Look at them windows. Check out them Mudflood windows. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Getting a little muddy there. See what's down here. Oh, got this big old church. That got statues removed from the niche. It's like the clock's removed. I always wonder what's behind when they're. Look at those columns right there made of brick. Oh, flat earth asterisks, in case you need one of those. Where are we at? I was talking to a boy today. He was saying, man, had some free time. I started looking at that flat earth, man. I think you're right, man. I think we live on a damn flat earth. Damn, it ain't no ball. He's like, I thought you was crazy. I was like, I think you're right. I'm like, well, that's good. Good for you. Congratulations. Oh, you gotta laugh at it because like when they get there, there's some Mudflood winders for you. Look at, I mean, it got old world here in this, town right down the road. Diamond symbology. Look at them Taurus fields. That wind catcher. Ether finial. Oh, there's a lot going on here. Look at that. There's that. We've seen that before. Oh yeah, this is good stuff. I hadn't looked around here. I figured that it'd be fun to I don't know where I am at this point. I've lost my whole trajectory of where I was going. I have no idea. Oh wow. Look at that. Mudflood winders. Got your 3-door thing going on. I have learned that this right here, this center, the small window, I have learned that at one time those were portholes and that they opened. And I never knew that. And I learned that from watching an old Malcolm McDowell movie called If, which is the movie that Stanley Kubrick saw Malcolm McDowell in If and decided he would be perfect to play in A Clockwork Orange. But anyways, watched that movie and learned that those are actually, or were actually, at one point, portholes. And I never knew that. I'm always learning something new. I love it when I learn something new. It's like finding a piece to the puzzle. 1894. So there is just all kinds of mud all around this little town. You know where I'm at. I have no idea. I've lost my original trajectory of where I was starting and going and all that. I was trying to go to downtown, but the downtown core did we go down here? I don't even know. Look at that. I think we saw this, didn't we? Don't remember. I think we did. Yeah, we did. Okay. I think that's, I don't know. This is a strange town to get around in. I don't know where all to go here, but I think you get the gistio of it. I think the main point is that there's some mud floodage going on relatively close. If we get to let me see, let me get my thingy doodad right. Okay, and try to find where is my place at? I think it's right here. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So we're talking 5.7 miles to that little town, to Lancaster, and 4.2 miles to Rushville. And we've seen that there is mud flood in both of those. So that's pretty cool. We've got I think pretty good little bit of evidence there that shows that there's a little hanky panky going on in this little mud flooder here. Did you guys have any questions? I think we're about ready to wrap it up and call it a Halloween. I hope you all have enjoyed this little excursion into the madness that is Biggs. And I had a good time doing that. I've been wanting to show you that for a long time. I mean, I'm actually surprised nobody else has ever done that because it's so obvious. Mudhouse Mansion. I mean, come on. That's just too easy. I don't know how other people didn't catch that one. I've been sitting on that for ever since I found Mudflood. And I've just not gotten to it. Yes, the wiki page says that the servants killed. Supposedly, the story goes that a public figure, somebody that was like a lawmaker or somebody important lived in the house, and in around after the Civil War. They don't give a name for who this person is. They just say, a important person. And then they say that he had slaves, which were illegal in the North, and that he locked them in one of the buildings at night. And I think it was the building that's right here behind me. I think it was this building. This is my opinion, my speculation. And I think, and the story goes, they dug out from underneath and dug out and then snuck into the house and killed the whole family. And then later on, another family bought the house, and supposedly they were seen moving in, and then they never saw them again. Next thing you know, they see a lady stand in the window, and come to find out, they go and check and it's the whole family. It was a man, woman, and 3 children, and they were all dead in their nightgowns hanging from the ceilings. Is it true? I don't, I think there would be more records if it was true, but then, we're talking before the 1900s, this happened. The records were bad back then. Records were burned. I don't know. Is it true? I don't know. I don't know. I just like the story. I think it's a cool story. I've always, ever since I came across it, I was like, this is classic, ghost story. And it's being, the with the mud flood, you put the two together, and it was just right up my alley. So I just think it's a neat story, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. And I hope you had a good Halloween, and we got a little closing here, and I hope you had a great Halloween, and we will see you very soon. Love Biggs.
I saw the gap again today, while you were begging me to stay, taking not to make me answer. If I do, you both may disappear. Choke until I swallow. Your best infant hit me for me. What is this but my reflection? Who am I to judge or strike you down? But you're pushing it, shoving me, 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 pushing it, shoving me. You still love me, you still love me, but you didn't need to push it on me, yeah. You still love me, but you didn't need to push it on me. bang my head on the fault line. You better take care not to make me answer, 'cause if I do, we both may disappear. But you're pushing and shoving me, pushing and shoving me, pushing and shoving me, pushing and shoving me. You still love me, you still love me, but you didn't need to push it on me. You're pushing and shoving me, pushing and shoving me. Slipping back into the gap again. I'm alive when you're touching me. Alive when you're shoving me down. Yeah. But I trade it all for just a little piece of mind. Push it on me, push it on me. Push it on me, push it on me. You're pushing and shoving and scrambling. Keep my feet flat on the ground. I am somewhere I don't wanna be. Push me somewhere I don't wanna be. You put me somewhere I don't wanna be. See, someplace I don't wanna see. Never wanna see that place again. So ever again today, while you were begging me to stay, managed to push myself away. You as well, my dear. And if what I say I might fade like a sigh if I stay, you in my flying movement anywhere. You in my flying movement anywhere. You were nothing there. fear. Yeah, I'm staring down the hole again, hands around my back again. Survival's my only friend, terrified of what may come. Yeah, remember I'll always love you, and I call you fucking through the way. There ain't no other way. There ain't no other way.
Shadows whisper in the night, candles burn a crimson light, echoes call me, pull me near, I taste the smoke, I feel no fear, broken prayers upon the wall, silence sings, I hear it all. Every heartbeat, heavy, slow. In this dark, I start to glow. Bloody Mary, take my hand, lead me through this haunted land. In your mirror, I can see the ghost of what you've made of me. Roses black and wine runs red, dance with shadows in my head. Every secret, every sin, I lose myself, you pull me in. Broken prayers upon the wall, silence sings, I hear it all. Every heartbeat, heavy, slow. In this dark, I start to glow. Bloody Mary, take my hand, lead me through this haunted land. In your mirror, I can see the ghost of what you've made of me. Crimson skies and shattered glass, moments fade but shadows last. Whisper louder, call my name, set me free or burn the flame. Bloody Mary, take my hand, drag me through this broken land. In your mirror, I still see the ghost you carved inside of me. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Say woof again! Say woof again!
I've got one that can see.
This is my kung fu, and it is strong.